Welcome to episode 3, season 3 of Flyer Media Talks, and today we've got a good episode, and it's about what to expect from a discovery call from a digital marketing agency. So we do tons of these all the time, and we kind of want to build the expectations and kind of explain to you what to expect from a call.
This is basically a cheat sheet of if we ever get on the call together, this is what you can expect that we're going to ask and more.
Essentially,
Yeah, let's jump into it.
The reason we wanted to do this video was to kind of give the listeners a kind of view of what happens once clients inquire with us for the first time, or potential customers for the first time. So it's not a big and scary thing. It's just a few questions that we like to get for a feel about your business and whether we'd be a good fit with your business too. So Dennis deals with most of the new business inquiries. So he's going to be the best guy to go through this topic.
Yeah, so the first thing we're probably going to ask is, and to be honest, most agencies will ask this, is an understanding of your sales at the moment and your marketing strategy at the moment. So first things first, what are your current sales and what are your current sales and what you want to be doing in sales in the next 3, 6, 18 months. Mm-hmm. Because from there we can gauge what we need to do to potentially get you there.
Once you know like the starting point, you've got to kind of...
Yeah, once you've got a base framework, you can go from there. Yeah. Another thing that goes into that is what is your average customer value? Because if you're currently doing £2,000 a month in sales and you want to get to £10,000, but your product is $9.99, you're going to have to sell a hell of a lot of $9.99 product to get to that goal. Mm-hmm. Which is why for certain services like Facebook ads, for example, we don't take on management of Facebook ads for low-ticket e-commerce, just because we know the amount of time and effort we have to put in, and the sort of retainer that we have to charge to be able to fulfill that. There's not a massive leeway of actually getting return on investment on a very, very low ticket item like £10 sort of thing. Which is why lead generation works best if you can reverse engineer of our retainer, for example. Mine is we're going to spend £3,000 a month on per pay-per-click, for example, but one client for you equals £2,000, for example. Then, the numbers are fairly easy. You can do, we need this, for example, 3 new customers a month to be able to make the return on investment, which seems a little bit more doable than having to, sell 10,000 units of a £10 product on an e-commerce store. So the first thing we're going to ask is, what are your current sales? What channels those sales are currently coming in from? So what marketing are you doing at the moment? Are you doing any Facebook marketing? Are you doing any print marketing or any traditional marketing? Are you doing any cold calls, things like that? Just so we understand how what we're going to provide is going to potentially play hand in hand with what you're already doing. And also we don't want to contradict what somebody's already doing, right? So there's that. Profit margin is an interesting one. It's not something that's necessary for us to know, but we like to understand.
It is important because a sell, you sell something for. I mean,
we need to understand whether you're making 90% on it or 10% on it, because to reverse engineer the numbers, we need to know
exactly
what kind of benefit you're getting from this. Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting a monetary benefit from us helping you, there's not much point you doing it, because you're going to make more money from not doing it. So we'll try to reverse engineer it. And I remember there's been a few proposals in the past 6 to 8 months where we've halfway through doing the proposal, we actually said, okay, we're going to have to go away and decline this, because judging by our numbers and your figures, there's no way that we can actually make this work and bring you return on investment, because your figures show that at the current rate and our retainer rate, we're not going to be able to get there. And that can be down to, for example, SEO, if there's not enough people searching for what you're selling. So if there's physically not enough people searching for the terms that would be logical to get you ranking for up in Google, then there's no way for you to make that ROI. And we can't sell, well, we can easily, but we don't want to sell somebody the dream of we're going to get 10,000 people to the website a month if the 10,000 people aren't there searching for your stuff to begin with. So that's the sort of stuff to be wary of, and that's why we ask those questions. What's another thing? So list of competitors. I think from your perspective, because you work you sort of handle more of the on-page stuff with SEO and things like that. List of competitors. How does that help us in terms of knowing the list of competitors of a client before going into a campaign?
Yeah, so from a content point of view, it kind of gives us a good idea of what kind of content that they're writing, how much content they're writing, how often they're writing. In terms of SEO, it shows us the number of backlinks they've got, so you know what you're competing against, how long it'll take to go up against them, build a similar amount of backlinks. We can figure out like a rough time frame to get into the proposal. We can try and steal the backlinks from competitors, so build them from similar websites. Just in general, it's really important, really. So usually if an established competitor's out in the market, then that's good to look at, because it saves you a lot of time if you're looking at someone else's website before you get started as well. So the competitors, if they're given to you straight away, it saves a lot of time for us as well. We will look at other competitors ourselves, but it's good to have top of mind competitors as well. That's what we call them, top of mind competitors, that you know of first.
A lot of the time, the competitors that we go away, we say, okay, we're going to do a competitor research. We go away and do competitor research, and we bring a list of 10, and the client goes, never heard of that one, they sell something else, they're not our competitor, they're too small, they're too big. Just because you have a better understanding of who your competitors are. Like,
it's good to have a mix, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, to who your competitors are, it could be different to what we perceive as your competitors by just taking a 10-minute Google.
Because the competitors that the client comes off at the top of the head, they may not have a web presence like a good one, but we might find something in the similar field. They've got a great web presence, but they're not like a direct competitor. So we can get a feel for the industry, so a marketplace analysis, and then go from there. Yeah,
basically, pretty much. Sticking to that topic of sort of current marketing, I touched on it briefly a second ago, but what marketing are you currently doing? And there's two follow-up questions to that. Or what marketing have you done in the past? How did it go? And if it didn't work, why didn't it work? And if it did work, why did it work?
And why have you stopped doing it if it would?
And why have you stopped doing it if it did work? So a lot of the time we get clients saying, oh, we don't want to do pay-per-click because we've tried it 3 years ago. We spent a load of money and we didn't get anything in return. And we always go, okay, well, can we look at the campaigns first of all? So it's much easier for us to, if you were able to give us access to Google Analytics or a Search Console or a pay-per-click ad account.
That's another big question that we
normally
ask for
access to it.
For like at least Google Analytics. If it's Facebook Ads Manager, usually Google Search Console as well.
Yeah. Because from there we can see, so for example, a pay-per-click campaign that ran 2 years ago that failed, we can go in and see, okay, well, this was wrong, this could have been done better, and we can sort of analyze it from there. We do a lot of Facebook ads, so I remember vividly a few Facebook ad accounts that we've looked at before where we looked at a campaign where, okay, there's no way this could have ever had any success.
Like, in context, I don't think they'll be watching this podcast, but like we've seen some graveyards of ads account. There was
That's
one,
what we call them, yeah.
There was I don't know if we can add them. We should blank it out if this can't be discussed. But like there was one campaign we looked at once, and the cost per click for a campaign was over £1,000. Remember?
Over 1,000, and it was for a fairly low ticket value service as well.
It was rather low ticket, yeah.
It was a rather low ticket service.
It was basically set up by someone, and it was just left. And I don't know who set it up, but it was just left.
Yeah, so things like that, like obviously that's not going to bring you a lot of return on investment, but that doesn't mean that, just because you've been burnt by one service before because somebody did it wrong or it wasn't for the right market, they don't understand the industry enough or whatever, doesn't mean that somebody else can't do it differently. And bear in mind, a lot of these things would, like that particular example, I seem to remember that ad was like 3 years old or something. It was like 2015 even, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. So got left for like a year. I don't know.
Yeah. So things like that, like times have changed, algorithms have changed, people have learnt new skills. So it's worth to give it a go again. But you have to have that proof there of like I said, like we don't go out and try and sell a dream of like, yeah, we're going to get 10,000 extra clicks to the website if there's not 10,000 people searching for it.
There's one thing that every business owner needs to look out in the LinkedIn direct messages, Instagram direct messages, email, cold calling. If someone's saying, how would you like to have 20, 30, 40 extra meetings per month now?
You can't guarantee those numbers.
You cannot guarantee meetings at all. So if anybody tries to sell that to you, then more than likely, then they're lying. You cannot put a direct number on that.
You can't.
You can tell clients or potential clients that you can put this strategy together. This has worked in the past. If you put this much money in, you're likely to get this much money out. If we optimize it, you're likely to get even more money out. like dependent on the results. But if someone tells you an exact number, then
that's a red flag straight up.
It's a red flag straight away. It's baloney, especially if it's a complete cold message.
Well, on topic of that, that's actually a good segue of numbers and meetings and stuff like that.
Hopefully, this doesn't turn into a rant. Does it? Is
No.
Oh, okay,
It's on our notes. It's fine. It's on our notes. Why? What did you think I was going to say?
Well, there's quite a few subtopics that we could dive into with false promises.
No.
Industries that we
No. Let's stay away from this. That's for another. That's whole other podcast. But no, conversion rate is something big. Yeah. So
and rough traffic as well.
Rough traffic. So the way, like Matt said, we can promise you 20, 30, 40, 50 extra meetings. No, you can't. What you can promise us is potentially a conversion rate of 20% if your current conversion rate is 15%, for example. Yeah. So that's another thing we ask for, and a lot of other agencies should ask for. What is your current conversion rate? So, i.e., how many? Let's say it's a services-based business, not an e-commerce product-based business. So let's say you get 20. My camera just shut off, so I'm not going to speak to this one. I love. Let's keep it.
We love the power of editing, don't we?
Let's keep it real. So where was I with this? Oh yeah, conversion rate.
Conversion rate.
So let's say you get 30 emails a month acquiring about your services. How many of those 30 emails turn into clients? So an email obviously is a lead, and then how many of those turn into clients? So let's say your conversion rate is 10%, which is like a fairly standard. If you get 30 emails a month, you get 3 new clients a month. Judging by the average figure, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 5, but the average is 3. And by that we can go, okay, so if you're currently doing that, things can obviously only get better. So we're going to try and aim for a 15% conversion rate. And then from that we set a KPI, which is a key point indicator of, okay, by this time in 3 months we're going to review. Hopefully we've had a 15% conversion rate as opposed to a 10% conversion rate. But that's not promising, leading with we're going to get you an extra 3 meetings a month. You can't guarantee that because...
You can make guarantees of we're going to do X, Y, and Z. You
can make guarantees of what we're going to do, but you can't guarantee what results that's going to bring. Right, you can predict what results it's likely to bring from research and past experiences, past campaigns, past data, and things like that. But you can't guarantee, because at the end of the day, I mean, as good as the clients that we work with, I'd say they're fairly good at selling. But at the end of the day, if we bring in 100 leads, if the client's no good at selling to those leads, we can't be blamed for that.
Yeah.
So
that links back to another video just quickly. We did a video based on conversion rate. So the leads that we're generating. So once that lead is in your CRM, the conversion rate, your selling rate offline, basically. So the leads that we present you, how many can you close out of that? And that's another key question to ask to the
a quick thing that we do to make sure that us and the clients are on the same page is we set up a HubSpot account for them if they don't have one. HubSpot. And we basically, if you have your contact forms going to a CRM, we just set up HubSpot so that it flows secondly into our CRM as well, and then we can cross-reference the leads basically so we can see what's happening. Because we want to make sure that you're maximizing your chances at what the sort of the business that we help bring in as well.
It's in our best interest to see you succeed.
Exactly.
We do absolutely everything we can. It's
100%.
It's a partnership, not a dictatorship.
Yeah. 2 last things I'm going to mention is preferred communication method. I think that's not massively important, but something that a lot of people are sort of people have preferences.
Yeah.
So some of our clients are strictly email. Some of our clients prefer to use Slack. We have some clients that use WhatsApp. That are sort of a little bit more chilled. It depends. It usually to me I think it depends on size of team. So
size of the team. Yeah.
One of our clients, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about, who we communicate with on WhatsApp. They're like a one-man band sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the email stuff, chances are sometimes when we work with bigger corporates, like for example working with somebody they're working with the NHS at the moment, then that has to be approved. There's at least 6 people CC'd in on emails. So that has sort of one of the things that's designed by committee, 7 people have to sign off sort of thing. Preferred method of communication is always a good thing to ask. Email tends to be
we're trying to be as accommodating as possible. Nothing bothers us.
Pretty much,
as long as we can communicate effectively, then
pretty much,
doesn't matter.
And last one, this is quite important when it comes to SEO. Can we have access to the website?
Preferably WordPress as
Preferably a WordPress website. There's 3 scenarios. We can have access to the website and it's WordPress, which is fantastic. That's the best scenario. We can't have access to the website and it's not WordPress, but you can edit it because you have an in-house developer, which is also fine, as long as we present changes and you can edit them. The third scenario is a massive red flag, which is, can we have access to the website? No. Is it WordPress? No. Can you edit it yourself? No. In which case we have a big issue because, I mean, we laugh about it, but it's a real issue sometimes. People get sold sites that they can't edit after.
Yeah.
By developers that have like developed it with just like core code and no content management system behind it. They've left. No one else knows how to work it. And then in which case, I mean, in some cases we've had to have clients build new sites before we can start the campaign. I mean, recently we've run a campaign that we had to do a landing page for just because there was no way to edit the current site.
We had to buy another domain, didn't we?
Buy another domain as well, yeah. So, so that a site, like if you're doing things that you don't think actually, you know, correlate to a site directly, believe me, they can. So if you're running like Facebook ads, they have to flow somewhere. Like the leads have to go somewhere. You can have the best Facebook ad, spend millions on it a day, but at the end of the day, if you're funneling people to an absolutely dead landing page that doesn't scale on mobile, that's slow, that hasn't got an SSL, secure socket layer, the little padlock in the corner, people are going to run away from it. And no matter how much you spend on the ad, no matter how much effort you put in, people are going to run away from it. So website's quite important. It's best if we can have access to it, and it's best if it is on WordPress. Odds are in our favor because WordPress powers like 25% of the internet these days. So 95% of the time, clients have WordPress sites and we can edit them, which is what we prefer. But yeah, I feel like we've sort of dived into quite a few topics here, but hopefully we've covered everything. If you guys have any questions on anything that we mentioned, or if you don't understand anything, or if there's any other questions that you want to ask unrelated to this topic, obviously drop a comment down below or message Matt or myself and we'll get to them. But hope you guys enjoyed these videos, and we'll see you in the next one.